A toddler spotted a stray dog in the street, and before anyone could stop him, leaned in and kissed its nose. Parents froze, neighbors gasped, and silence fell. What happened next wasn't anger or danger. It was a moment so unexpected it left everyone in tears of disbelief. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe, and really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. It was a sunny afternoon, the kind of day when everything felt simple and carefree. A young family strolled down a quiet neighborhood street, mom pushing the stroller, dad walking beside them, and their little toddler waddling just a few steps ahead, eager to explore the world around him. The boy's laughter echoed as he reached out to touch everything, fallen leaves, cracks in the pavement, even a butterfly that drifted past. His parents exchanged amused smiles, both keeping a close watch but allowing him a bit of freedom. To them, it was just another walk in the neighborhood. Yet sometimes the most ordinary days carry the most extraordinary surprises. Around the corner, waiting in silence, was something no one expected. In mere moments, the toddler's curiosity would lead him to an encounter that would leave his parents breathless, the neighbors stunned, and the world with a story to remember. As they rounded the bend, the family froze. A large German shepherd stood in the middle of the street, his dark coat dusted with dirt, his amber eyes alert but calm. He didn't growl, didn't move, just watched them with a stillness that made every passerby stop in their tracks. The father instinctively stepped forward, holding his arm out to keep his toddler close. The mother's heart raced, her mind flashing warnings about stray dogs and unpredictability. But the boy's reaction was completely different. His eyes widened with wonder, his small lips curling into an innocent smile. Neighbors peeked through windows, a few stepping outside to see what would happen. Whispers spread. Is that a stray? Is it dangerous? The street grew silent, every pair of eyes fixed on the unusual standoff. For a moment, no one breathed. The distance between child and dog suddenly felt impossibly small. Before the parents could react, the toddler broke free from his father's gentle hold. With unsteady but determined steps, he waddled straight toward the German shepherd. Gasps erupted from nearby neighbors. The parents called his name, their voices tight with panic, but the little boy kept moving, giggling with excitement. The dog didn't budge. His ears twitched slightly, eyes locked on the approaching child. He stood tall, muscles tense, yet there was no sign of aggression. Instead, it seemed as though he was waiting, watching closely, as if deciding whether to trust or retreat. The silence was deafening. Every second felt stretched into eternity. The boy's tiny shoes tapped against the pavement, each step bringing him dangerously close. The father reached out but was too late. The toddler stopped right in front of the massive dog, tilting his head curiously, as if meeting an old friend for the first time. The boy leaned forward with pure innocence shining in his eyes. To everyone's horror, he placed his tiny hands on the German shepherd's face and pressed a gentle kiss against the dog's nose. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Parents, frozen, neighbors whispering, hearts pounding in fear of the unknown. The mother's breath caught in her throat, her body paralyzed between rushing forward and staying still. The father clenched his fists, ready to react but unable to move as he watched the fragile moment unfold. This was no ordinary encounter. It balanced between danger and miracle in a single heartbeat. Then something remarkable happened. Instead of baring his teeth, the German shepherd slowly lowered his head, eyes softening. He stood perfectly still, as though understanding the boy's gesture. The street, moments ago tense and fearful, was filled with stunned silence. No one could believe what they had just witnessed. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to stand still. Then, in a move that shocked everyone watching, the German shepherd leaned forward and gently licked the toddler's cheek. The boy burst into laughter, clapping his tiny hands with delight, his fearlessness disarming the tension that had gripped the entire street. Relief washed over the parents, though their bodies still trembled with adrenaline. The mother covered her mouth, tears welling up, while the father finally exhaled the breath he'd been holding. The neighbors, once frozen in fear, whispered in awe at the sight unfolding before their eyes. The dog's tail wagged slowly, not wildly, but with careful trust. He lowered himself onto the ground, allowing the toddler to climb into his fur, as if they had known each other forever. What should have been a frightening encounter had transformed into something extraordinary, a bond that defied explanation. As the crowd began to disperse, an elderly neighbor stepped forward, her eyes fixed on the dog. "I know him," she whispered, her voice trembling with recognition. The parents turned in surprise. The woman explained that the German shepherd once belonged to a family in the neighborhood months ago. He had been known for his gentleness with children, often seen playing in the park and protecting little ones who strayed too far. But then, suddenly, his family moved away and left him behind. Since then, he had wandered the streets, lonely, hungry, but never aggressive. He simply waited. Hearing this, the parents looked at their son, still giggling as the dog nuzzled against him. The pieces fell into place. This wasn't just a stray. It was a dog who had lost his family and, in an unexpected moment of innocence, had been reminded of love through a toddler's kiss. By now, the scene had drawn even more people. Neighbors gathered on porches, some with phones in hand, recording the unbelievable moment. Children tugged at their parents' sleeves, begging to get closer while adults stood in stunned silence. The toddler and the dog sat together as if in their own world. The parents remained torn, caught between awe at the miracle and fear of the unknown. Yet every time the father tried to coax his son away, the boy clung tighter to the dog, shaking his head. "Mine," he whispered, as if declaring the shepherd his new best friend. The whispers in the crowd grew louder. Some spoke of danger, others of destiny. But the longer people watched, the more their fear softened into wonder. What had started as a moment of tension was transforming into a symbol of innocence, trust, and the extraordinary bond between child and animal. As the sun dipped lower, the parents exchanged a long, silent glance. They couldn't leave the dog behind, not after what they had witnessed. The toddler's laughter, the dog's gentle patience, the unshakable bond forming right before their eyes, it was undeniable. The choice wasn't about fear anymore, it was about love. The father crouched down, extending his hand carefully. The German shepherd sniffed, then lowered his head, accepting the gesture of trust. The mother brought out a small packet of food she carried, and the dog ate slowly, never straying far from the toddler's side. A fragile bridge had been built. Neighbors looked on, many with tears in their eyes, as the family led the dog toward their home. The boy clapped with joy, hugging his new friend's neck. In that moment, the decision was sealed. The stray was no longer alone. He had just found his family again. That evening, the shepherd stepped cautiously into the family's home. At first, he lingered near the doorway, uncertain if he truly belonged. But the toddler tugged at his paw and pulled him inside with unshakable confidence. Within minutes, the dog was exploring the living room as if he had always been there. The parents watched in awe as their son and the dog played together. The boy's laughter echoed through the walls while the shepherd nudged toys toward him, tail wagging. Later, when bedtime came, the dog padded to the toddler's room, lying down at the foot of the bed without hesitation. The mother whispered, "He's already protecting him." Her heart swelled as she realized how fate had brought them together. What began as a chance meeting on a quiet street had become a new beginning. The stray wasn't a stranger anymore. He was family.